So today is Thursday, 19th of September 2024. And I've had another message in from Facebook this week, and it has made me realise, oh my goodness me, time has absolutely flown. I haven't written about living with OIT for a long time and decided to do, well, first of all, it made me stop and think, okay, what is life actually like with OIT? And then to share that, and I want to be really honest about it. So it's not all absolutely beautiful. So I just want to share that. So we started, 2021 we started. We've been on maintenance for some of the nuts for some time now. This is our maintenance bag. And I'd started off with the little days of the week, little pots, but now my daughter has to consume so many chuffing nuts that we've had to move to big pots. Hazelnuts, peanuts, in the form of M&Ms, which she really likes. Who knew? Pistachios. Those are her 3 maintenance doses. So we were advised that we could cluster maintenance doses together. This is not medical advice that I pass to anybody. We have decided to keep them separate for now because one step at a time. We also have a whole load of flaked almonds here, but in actual fact, she uses them for baking. It's not a maintenance dose officially, although if we keep having it and making sure she's having it, then one could argue that it is. But these are the official ones. We have our list of what nuts are required, and Abby very much sees to that herself. She's almost 17, believe it or not. So this is what we find useful for maintenance dosing. She was starting the walnut protocol last autumn, 2023, and it tipped over the edge with all of her maintenance doses. We introduced it in an autumn when illnesses were lurking, and because of it looking like it might jeopardise how far we'd come with our other maintenance doses, we actually decided to step away from that, and we've made peace with the idea that actually 3 maintenance doses, we are going to stick with that. Walnuts are not so common, and if one day we decide to pick that up, but actually having achieved so much and with such cheap nuts as hazelnuts and peanuts in particular, being such common nuts, that we didn't want to jeopardise those. So what's life like living with OIT? It is definitely not life after OIT, as one of my posts put. OIT is for life, baby, not just for Christmas. So we know the pros of OIT, of course. Her maintenance doses mean that she's now gone off to college, and she gets herself there on a 45-minute bus route in a new large town. She has, we're always reminded by the heartbreaking and tragic stories that still crop up in the news. So we're reminded of the absolute benefits of OIT, my God, of course. I also want to share something that I feel quite guilty about, and that is that there are some downsides to OIT, and it feels bad and ungrateful to be dwelling on that, but I've got to acknowledge it because it's a reality. So on the one hand, we have achieved freedom for Abby in so many ways, and fundamentally important ways. Sadly, sometimes that can feel like we have restricted ourselves, and so where we've gained freedom on one hand, it has felt like we have accepted restriction in other ways. What do I mean by that? So we had a horrible experience several months ago where Abby had taken her 1 peanut dose, maintenance dose, that she does all the time, and she was on her own at home and left it an hour, then decided to do some high intensity training. It turned into a very scary allergic reaction. It wasn't deemed as anaphylaxis by the hospital, but it was an EpiPen and a really terrifying experience for Abby and obviously for the rest of us. Particularly for Abby, it's the first time she'd actually experienced an EpiPen. Her allergic reaction, her main one, was when she was a little toddler. So, you know, this was quite a thing for her. Obviously, you know, in some ways there are some learnings and education and benefits of finding this out. So she now understands what it's like to have an EpiPen administered. That's absolutely fine. And however, it has knocked her confidence a lot with her maintenance dosing. And so she now chooses, even though I gently encourage, she chooses to leave 2 to 3 hours after every maintenance dose. Maintenance doses happen 7 days a week. We've got 3 different nuts. Sometimes that's breakfast and after school. She chooses to leave it 2 to 3 hours before doing any sort of physical activity. That is a compromise in her freedom. So there has been a trade-off. I'm really looking forward to gently, incrementally moving through her concerns about that, and so that we go beyond that fear can fade into the background. It's completely understandable, and I'm sorry that it is impacting her days the way that it is. But I want to be honest about that. It is impacting them. So, you know, we've got this phenomenal achievement and phenomenal level of protection that we'd never dreamt of. There is a trade-off at the moment. And the aim is, the hope is utterly that in time that trade-off shrinks, so that and it's going to take time, it's going to take confidence, and also there are times of the year, so you know, we had issues in the spring when suddenly the tree pollen the air was saturated with that, and she was finding that, you know, her throat was funny with maintenance doses, whereas, you know, she'd achieved so much. And so after consulting, we found that actually, no, we dropped that back a bit. And it's just, you know, it is not life after OIT, it is life with OIT. It's another thing to be organised about and to manage. And so, you know, Abby's nearly 17. She is amazing at managing this herself. I guess I just want to share the honesty for everybody considering this or in this journey, and those people on maintenance doses, it can feel quite lonely. I've felt quite lonely thinking, well, I don't feel I can say this stuff because, you know, aren't we phenomenally fortunate and lucky? Yes. So obviously, you know, I can end up feeling a bit lonely about actually the trials that come with it. But it is something that we are adamant that we stick with, because what we gain is so fundamental. It's so fundamental. And the hope is that there will be a path of ease into something that is just a much gentler aspect of daily life, so that it's just a part of life, a part of daily life that is not requiring sitting down for 3 hours each day. Although maybe it's her excuse. I'm being flippant. It's not. But I know that we can reduce this, and I know it can get much better.